This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to Ravichandran Swaminathan ji, post Sri Lankan show, where he was the hero along with the native Sri Lankans. Now he is going to be another hero worship after this show. I am for sure. For the simple fact that we have been discussing this show since a long time, but in between the movie has happened. That's why we had to shelve this for some time so that people will become aware of ISRO. What has happened with ISRO? What has happened with that scandal, spy scandal? What has happened with the scientist Nambi Narayan, who was very much the villain then? So many cases against him. He was in jail. I think everyone is aware about the rocketry cinema. I need not tell you beyond. But beyond that also, some colleagues of his came out and started to rebuke him, stating that he is not the father of cryogenics or he is not the one who has developed Vikas engine. All said and done, fine. ISRO scientists, that's okay, accepted. That is your internal matter. But is it not true that he was framed? This is what I am expecting the ISRO to come out clear and clean. Is he not been framed? ISRO, the satellite space, the premier agency of India, Indian Space Research Organization. Through this show, I am questioning you. Is it not a vendetta or a case against Nambi Narayan wherein he has been falsely implicated? ISRO, you come out. Leave about. We are not bothered about your cryogenic engines and Vikas engines, what that hero Madhavan has shown in his movie in consonance with Mr. Nambi Narayan. I feel we do not know. But the quintessential part of all this is, had he been framed or not? Scientists, come out. Why are you falling into the trap? If there is anything, discuss it internally. Call them. Not an issue. आप सोचिए क्या हुआ हमारे इंडियन स्पेस रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ. क्या साइंटिस्ट नंबू शास्त्रवेत्ता जो है नंबी नारायण के साथ जिस तरह पेश बर्ताव किया गया, वो देशद्रोही बताया गया, क्या वो सही है? हम यही चाहते कि इसरो साइंटिस्ट इसको पहले बताए. क्या वो क्रायोजन इंजन से या विकास इंजन से ताल्लुक है या नहीं, हम बाद में रखते हैं. उसको भी हम डिस्कस करेंगे बाद में, पक्का डिस्कस करेंगे, क्योंकि एक अहम मुद्दा है. एक नागरिक और एक ऐसे नागरिक जो हमारे अंतरिक्ष की जो शास्त्रवेत्ता है, शास्त्र ज्ञान परिज्ञान उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ ऐसा एक नंबी नारायण, जिस तरह उनको एक देशद्रोही बताया गया, जेल में डाल दिया गया, उनकी परिवार भी किस तरह मुश्किलें उठाए, ये सही है या नहीं? Is it true or not that Mr. Nambi Narayan and himself and his family had to go through that unusual ordeal of fighting a case, a espionage case, a spy scandal case against his name, against his family, touting or stating that he is the number one enemy of the nation. Let us stick to that. Rest of the things. So, in doing so, now I need not show you again on the Supreme Court what it said. Supreme Court order 50 lakhs you pay. Kerala High Court, they said 1 lakh 3 crores or 30 crores. They have all paid this amount to Mr. Nambi Narayan. If I am wrong, they can always correct. But compensation by Supreme Court, compensation by Kerala High Court or Kerala government has been paid or not. Why did you pay? That leads to this live show which has not been attended to by your rocketry movie. That is why you can say, in essence, this will be the best rocketry science. The ISRO spy scandal today with none other than Ravichandran-Swaminathan ji, clearly putting out in the poster itself the चश्मा के पीछे कौन है, who is there behind those spectacles, in the sense the mastermind. We would love to know. Yes, the media is already agog. The ex DGP of Gujarat, Mr. Sri Kumar, who was intelligence chief that time during that case, and along with him, the other police official was DGP CB Matthews and scores of other police officials who went for anticipatory bail. And the defense was there was no foreign involvement. Who was, see, this is what happens, what is happening with the courts. Supreme Court, we have seen in COVID-19 trial, they go for trial without making clear what these vaccines contain, without making clear whether this virus was isolated or not, without making clear whether it was a lab human made virus, or without such things the trial happens. The same thing with Mr. Nambi Narayan case. That is why that has evinced our interest, and having Ravichandran Swaminathan ji, a very acclaimed web crime analyst, pursuing this case since a long time, and we had to wait for the rocketry movie to hit the screens so that this issue will become popular. Our interest is, if Supreme Court, Kerala High Court, Kerala government, everyone has accepted and have paid compensation to him, if that is the case, who has framed him? What is the purpose and motive? From here, I'm handing it over to Ravichandran Swaminathan ji. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy. And I welcome my friend, Mr. Subramanian Siva, who is also joined us here as my guest. Thank you for having him on your show, Dr. Reddy.
Wonderful.
Now, let me say one thing. I have not seen the rocketry movie. Neither have I seen the video interviews given by Dr. Nambi Narayan, Madhavan, or anything, because I wanted my mind to be very clear.
Yes.
My intention here is not to cause any hurt or defame anybody or point fingers at anybody. My intention is pure and simple, and it is purely academic. I have not got access to the actual case diaries or the statements given by the various peoples, but I have depended completely on media reports and the court judgment. So these are two sources of my information, and on this, I have what I am expressing is my opinion. So with that disclaimer, let me start. First, I have to give you a background. Dr. Reddy, it's not moving. The screen is not moving.
You reduce it and then move. You just try to minimize this, then you move, and then after that again you can maximize it. Maybe because you minimize it, Ravichandran ji. Or else I'll do one thing. I'll make you presenter once again.
Huh.
Welcome, Mr. Subramania Shiva. You can start your video, Mr. Subramanian Shiva. Let people watch you.
Okay, okay.
Welcome to the show, sir. Greetings to you. Yes, sir. Ravichandran-ji, I've made you a presenter once again. These things will keep happening that we are used. When you announce such a show, people are eagerly waiting and they will debunk us. That will happen. Now you can enlarge the screen or else you can present. It's visible. Your disclaimer is visible.
The next slide and click it. That's all.
So the
Okay,
basic,
that's it.
before I go to the gist of the case, uh, let me start with the background of political background, technical background, and everything. Because when I do an investigation or when I am called to assist an investigation, first I have to get a grip on the subject that I'm investigating, on the complete details before I start any investigative work. This is one thing that I also suggest to all people who listen to my lectures on investigation. Get a grip on the subject before you start doing anything. So let us go back to 1994. What was the situation then? The situation was USSR had crumbled and it was breaking up. They were wanting a lot of funds. They were running short of money. America was a dominant power. After Iraq war, there was nobody else left to challenge them. Boris Yeltsin was the president of USSR, of the then USSR, and he was totally under the American control because he was the Russian economy had almost collapsed, and he had to listen to the Americans. So this was the state in Europe. As far as India was concerned, Prime Minister Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister in Delhi, and to put it bluntly, he was not under the control of the High Command. The High Command was not able to control him in any manner. He was taking decisions on his own and as required by the situation. He was not amenable to any suggestion by the High Command. That was the situation as far as Delhi was concerned. As far as Kerala was concerned, Karnakaran was the chief minister, and he had a let me put it this way, that he was the strong man of Kerala at that point in time. And like in all states, there was a faction against him headed by A.K. Anthony. This is as far as the political side of the thing was concerned. As far as rocketry was concerned, as far as ISRO was concerned, the ISRO was formed by Vikram Sarabhai. And most of the people at that time, they were direct recruits, recruited directly by Vikram Sarabhai. And Nambi Narayan was also one of them. The liquid propulsion, there are two sets of propulsions. One is the liquid propulsion, in which Nambi Narayan was a prime mover in that, along with other people in the chain. Because any rocket this thing does not depend on one single individual. It takes a lot of people to get ready or assemble the entire rocket system, and every part of that is as important as the propellant. The propulsion is only one part of it, the engine is one part of it. The first engine that ISRO took was from France, and that was the Viking engine. This Viking engine has got a history of its own. This Viking engine was developed by the Germans first for their V2 rockets. And subsequently, the German scientists who developed that engine went to France to take care of that this thing. To take care of the technology there. And in '64 itself, this Viking engine was in operation. Now, when ISRO was given the option to study that engine, a team under Nambi Narayan was sent to France, and they worked on the Viking engine, and they made modifications to that Viking engine, which was brought to India, and that is our Vikas engine. So this is as far as the liquid propulsion engine is concerned. Sometime in 1987, India decided that, but there was one problem with the liquid propulsion system, in that the payload which could be carried to space was very much limited. It was limited to probably around 1 to 1.5 tons, not more than that. And India was looking for a payload in excess of 2 to 3 tons. And for that, only the cryogenic engine was amenable to that. So the GSLV, that is the geostationary rocket, GSLV, this thing was project was conceived of in 1987 under Jnana Gandhi. He was the chief of that system, and they were told to develop the cryogenic engine. In the meantime, in 1990-91, India approached America as well as France for cryogenic technology and the engine. At that time, America company General Dynamics, they offered the cryogenic engine, but the cost was very high. Same thing happened with France also, and there was no technology transfer involved in that. At that time, the Russian came forward. Even Japan was approached for that cryogenic engine, but Japan was not able to help. Then finally, Russia was prepared to offer that cryogenic engine for probably about $200 million or $300 million, which was a bargain price, because they needed that money very badly. So in 1991, a memorandum was signed between India and Russia, where it was proposed that the technology would be transferred along with some engines to India. Now, at this point in time, America intervened. They cited the missile treaty, that is the Missile Technology Control Regime, MTCR. And they said that Russia could not transfer that technology because this technology could be used for military purposes, which was absurd, because the cryogenic engine for loading the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen into the rocket itself took a lot of time, and that could not be used for military purposes. But still, because America applied the pressure, Russia cancelled that treaty. Now, this is the point. At this point in time, Glavcosmos, which was the organization giving that technology, they said that they had some cryogenic engines from 1960s, which was untested, and that engine was the I think the KD5 or something like that. The name was KVD engines, KVD1 engines. Now this engine was not tried so far, even though it was developed in 1960s. It was not tested or not tried, and Russia had some engines which they were willing to give to India without any technology transfer. So another memorandum was signed where an agreement was signed where they could take these engines without the technology transfer. Now, the Russians were afraid that if the Americans come to know that they were going to transfer these cryogenic engines to India, they would raise objections. So they wanted it to be done secretively. They approached Air India for lifting that engines. Air India refused to do it because they said that without customs clearance, we will not do it. So ultimately, another company, Ural Airlift, was contacted, and they said that they would be willing to take it without any papers. And that is how those engines came here into India. And one of the means of doing it was this Ural Airlift entered into a contract with ISRO where they pretended to take some material from India to Russia, and from Russia repair it and bring it back. That was the excuse for bringing those engines here. This was all. This is important. All this is important in the further investigations also, and how it was taken up. Though this was at this point in time. Now America was aware that Russia was giving engines to India, that India was developing its cryogenic capacities and everything. Now, this is the background of the entire story. Now, what happened was sometime in April 1994, June 1994, two ladies came from Maldives. One was Mariam Rashida and the other one was Fauzia Hassan. Mariam Rashida came to India as a tourist, and Fauzia Hassan also came as a tourist, except that she had her 14-year-old daughter who was studying in Bangalore, and she wanted to visit her. Both of these people came from Maldives. They were friends, they were acquaintances in Maldives, and they came here. Sometime during October, when the visa expired, Mariam's because Fauzia Hassan had come on a 1-year visa, whereas Mariam had come only on a 6-month visa, and that got expired. And she was unable to go back because of a plague scare which had grounded all aircraft, which means the date of her departure had to be postponed, and she had no visa at that point in time. So the rules say that Foreigners Act says that in case your visa is expiring or is likely to expire before you are going, you have to inform to the nearest police station. And this Mariam Rashida went to the nearest police station and informed them that her visa had expired and she wanted an extension. Now, she went through, actually, this is where there is some amount of what I would say is disconnect. Anyway, I will come to all that later on. Now, at this point in time, she was put in touch with one inspector, Vijayan. And Vijayan told Mariam to get her ticket and come to the station along with her visa. So this, when Mariam did this, he took that passport as well as that air ticket from her. And then he went to the hotel to check on her, and there is an allegation that he made some advances which was rebuffed by Mariam. And because of that, Vijayan came back to the station and asked her to come on October 20th, and where she was arrested for overstaying. This was brought to the court, and the judiciary at that point in time remanded her to prison without going into the details. Vijayan did not tell the court that she had a passport, she had her air ticket also, and that he had taken custody of that. This was hidden from the court. The court passed the judgment order asking her to be remanded to custody. This was sometime in October 20th. Now, in the course of the search of her hotel room, at that point in time, Fauzia Hassan was also present in the hotel room. And Fauzia Hassan was asked to go out when this advance was made towards Mariam Rashida. But we will not go into all those details. The point is, a search in that room yielded a diary in which was written in Dveshi language, which is a foreign language. and some names cropped up. One of the names was Shashi Kumar of ISRO, and there is supposed to be a telephone record of conversation between Mariam and Shashi Kumar also. Several calls had been made to Shashi Kumar also. Now, at this point, Fauzia Hassan was also there, and the name of two other people. One was Chandrasekhar, K. Chandrasekhar, and the other one was S.K. Sharma, who was a contractor for ISRO. Chandrasekhar was the representative of Glav Cosmos in India. So these two names cropped up in that diary, and immediately we do not know whether IB informed the police or the police informed IB. In any case, an FIR was registered, and Shashi Kumar was arrested sometime in 23rd of November, if I'm not mistaken. Now, based on the statements given by Fauzia Hassan and Mariam Rashida, Nambi Narayan was arrested on the 30th. At that point in time, it was also noted that one of the close confidants of Karunakaran, IG Raman Srivatsav, his name had also cropped up, and he was also put under suspicion. Now, these are the details of the case. Basic details. At this point, the media came into the picture, and they started writing stories about spies, sex, honey trap, this thing, that thing, compromise, treason, etc. And it went on for a long time. The net result was these people went into jail. This is the timeline of the, what is the next slide is the timeline of the different events in that. That is October 8, Mariam Rashida approaches Inspector Vijay for a visa extension which is caused by flight cancellation. October 17, she comes again with the passport and air ticket and is asked to give the passport and ticket to Vijayan. October 20th, Mariam is arrested for overstaying. November 1st, Nambi Narayan submits his voluntary retirement from ISRO. November 11th, Fauzia Hassan is arrested. November 23rd, Shashi Kumar of ISRO is arrested along with Chandrasekhar and S.K. Sharma, a labor contractor. November 30th, Nambi Narayan is arrested. Some peculiar things happened here, which I will go again into that when I'm discussing that case. Now, December 1994, the case is transferred to CBI. Now, we will stop at this point. Between October 20th and now December 4th, or around that time, or before that time, surprisingly, the police arrested all these people, but no search was made of Shashi Kumar's residence or Nambi Narayan's residence. It was done later. It was done later.
Such a big case of treason, no house search is made.
No house search was made, but it was made later, 1 week later, 10 days later. Sufficient time after the arrest, not immediately after the arrest. See, one thing that I tell when I give lectures on investigation is, even registering an FIR only after the police person is inspector or the IO, investigating officer, is convinced that there is some evidence. It may be superfluous, it may be completely that is, it could be simple, some simple evidence, primary evidence is there, some basic evidence is there, but ensure that there is some evidence, and only then you have to proceed to register an FIR. Now, in this case, the FIR has been created, the people have been arrested, but no evidence has been taken, other than some statements. Nambi Narayan and Shashi Kumar were arrested on the basis of the diary entries in taken from Mariam Rashida's room, and statements from them. That's all. Okay. Now, when this is where IB was brought into the picture. Now, the Kerala police lodged an FIR, arrested these people, did some preliminary investigation. At that point in time, CB Matthews felt that since this was an espionage case and international people are involved in it, it should be handed over to the CBI. That is the decision that CB Matthews took, which is a correct decision because the local police are not supposed to handle such cases. Now, before handing it over to the CBI, the IB people also given some inputs, because one of the names mentioned in the diary was a person called Zuhaira. Zuhaira was supposed to be an ISI agent in touch with the Pakistan people, and she was based in Sri Lanka, and there were bank transactions from Habib Bank to these two people. Now, whether those transactions of transfers of money to these two people was in connection with this case, or for making the payment of fees for Fauzia Hassan's child, we do not know about all this, because those things have not been discussed anywhere. But the point is that there have been transactions, and a Zuhaira name was mentioned in that. And the beauty of it was Zuhaira was not on the ISI, the things when photographs were compared. 149 photographs were compared, and Zuhaira's name did not appear on that. Now, probably this information came from IB, or the Kerala police found it, we do not know. But anyway, so now the Kerala police have registered an FIR. They have arrested two senior scientists from ISRO. They have taken a foreign company representative into custody, and they have taken an ISRO contractor into custody. And in this 1 month, the case has been blown all over the country by the media. Now, at this point, the Kerala police cannot say that, sorry, we made a mistake. So my feeling is, without proper evidence, they took a huge step, and they found that they could not go back on that. And this lemon, they sold this lemon. They sold this hot potato to the IB and asked IB to handle it. Now, IB cannot register a case. They cannot do any interrogation. Their job is limited only to collection of data and giving of data to the police. Now, their job is only to gather intelligence and share it with the people to whom it should be shared. Now, some information was shared with the police, and Nambi Narayan was arrested based on IB inputs also. And that point in time, RB Sri Kumar, he was the second in command of the IB center in Kerala. In December, around December 2nd or 3rd, this case was transferred to CBI. Now, the IB had got a hot potato in its hands. It has given some information. That information could not be verified or was not verified, and the entire thing was handed over to CBI. CBI went through the entire case, and after investigating it for 2 years, from 1994 to 1995, they came to the conclusion that there was no case at all. And they submitted a closure report. That closure report was not accepted, and only in 1996 the closure report was submitted to the magistrate. It was accepted and the case was closed. In 1996, the case was reopened by the next government. In this meantime, what had happened was, because Karnakaran's close confidant Raman Srivatsa was supposed to be involved in this, Karnakaran was forced to resign from his post and A.K. Anthony became the CM. And subsequently, in 1996, CBI closed the case. 1996, there was an election. The Communist Party took power and they reopened the case. In this entire 2.5 years, now there was a lot of talk about 230 documents, 250 documents were seized by the media. I have to go about the media also in this aspect. There was a lot of talk about 230 documents, 250 documents, 260 documents, which has been seized from Sashikumar's house, Nambi Narayan's house, from here, from there. This has been sent to ISI and all that. Now, what are these documents that have been sent or seized? It contains details about this was the official this thing, saying that liquid propulsion details, telemetry details, PSLV rocket details were being sent out. One of the ISRO scientists who was working on that, of course, an anonymous scientist, he said, these documents are of no importance. Probably if ISI asked us for that, we would have given it to them directly. You don't require spies for this. In fact, some of these documents, like engine drawings and all that, have come on ISRO newsletter itself. And these newsletters have been circulated widely. So ISI need not have asked ISRO also. All that they have to do is get a newsletter and all the details are there. This is one aspect of it. The second aspect is this engine details that the people talked about was invented 20 years earlier, 20, 30 years earlier. It is not only ISRO which was having these details, this details was, everybody was having it. Some people were using it to pack masala. Some people were using it to further develop it into a rocket. Some people were using it for academic purposes. Everybody had it. Probably if somebody had gone to Valimala provision shop, they would have packed it in that drawing and given it to you. It was that easily available. It was of no importance to anybody. Then the second aspect, the cryogenic technology. In 1994, ISRO itself did not have any cryogenic technology drawings or designs, except for the basic this thing, because the full details had not come to them at that point in time. Then where was the question of selling cryogenic technology? So this is an issue which the police should have investigated. At least they should have thought about what is this cryogenic technology, what is this liquid propulsion. Somebody should have gone to ISRO and asked them, what are the documents? ISRO made a complete audit of all their documents and said that all the documents are available with us. And what they also said was, the documents and designs which were in ISRO was available to anybody for the asking, because ISRO believed in transparency. Which means any scientist in ISRO could take these documents home. He could take a photocopy of it. The most critical documents, That was restricted access and nobody could take it. And that was all safe. So even if I assume that there is an espionage, some documents have been transferred, the documents are of no consequence. So where is the question of espionage arise? This I would be reflecting as an investigator. And having said that, now these two ladies who have come into it, who have been labeled as spies, one was an actress in Maldives, Fauzia Hassan. Maria Mazina was working for the Maldives government or some organization in Maldives. Both of them did not know English. Now, how do you send a spy who does not even know the language of that place and ask them to negotiate a price for the documents? And when they take the documents, they are not even able to understand what the documents are. Even our educated police were not able to understand what the documents are. How do you expect a person who does not even know English to see what the documents are? Which country will send a spy like that? A basic question. Okay, let me assume that somebody else is pulling this tail. These people are not spies, but they are just mules to carry document from one point to another, make the payment and go. Now, if you are going to employ mules, are you going to send them with the passport in their own name, carrying their own addresses and having their daughter studying in Bangalore? At that point, Kerala police should have silently said, drop it and get lost. A lot of headache would have been saved in that aspect. But they didn't do it. They passed it on to IB. Now, we do not know what acts IB had to grind at that point in time. They handed it over to the CBI. They made some inquiries. They made some interrogations. They took out some statements. And in this process, the accused were manhandled. The accused were manhandled. And when the case went to CBI, they went into all this and said that there is no case at all and they wanted to close it. Fine. And they finally closed it in 1998 when the court said that refused permission to the Kerala government to reopen the case. And at that point in time, it was closed. Now, Nambi Narayan went to NHRC. NHRC immediately gave Nambi Narayan 1 crore as compensation. The question is, why didn't NHRC consider the plight of the other people also? Why did they give only 1 crore to Nambi Narayan? Just because he applied for it? Doesn't mean that the other people have not suffered or they should apply for it and get it. Why was no suo motu action taken on that? This is a question that has to be taken. Now, the CBI also said that action has to be taken against the officers concerned for exceeding their authority, for planting evidence, for fabricating evidence, and destroying the reputation of people. Kerala government, under pressure from the police, did not countenance that and they dropped all charges. In 2005, Shri Kumar, there was an inquiry against Shri Kumar by the UPA government. As a part, this inquiry was started during the Vajpayee, towards the end of Vajpayee government and continued in the UPA government. And all charges against Shri Kumar, except for 2 minor charges, all other charges were dropped and Shri Kumar was repatriated to Gujarat. And today we see that from what has happened in that Teesta Setalwad and R.B. Kumar judgment at the Supreme Court, we find that The same modus operandi that was done in Kerala has been done in Gujarat also. So was repatriating Sri Kumar to Gujarat was a punishment, or was he sent there to replicate what happened in Kerala to displace
One second.
Karnakaran?
One
Yes.
second.
Yeah.
I think they have somewhere. Yeah. I think they have stopped our live. See,
They stopped your life.
they stopped live. But still, we'll try to go. Wait.
Should I continue? Is it being recorded?
It is recording. It is. I'm recording it. But again, we'll try to go live too. How can they stop this live stream mid?
Mr. Siva, your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted, Mr. Siva.
Yeah, I'm trying. I think there is something going on. Something fish. Is it clear now?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Is it clear? Am I able to? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
I think there is some mischief which is being played, but still again, we'll try to go live. Wait 1 second. You have seen the mischief. I'm reusing the same settings, trying to go live. This is mischief by YouTube and all those who are trying to mastermind this show. This is trash. What is the time now? Yeah. Again, we are going to go live.
சரி நான் சொல்றேன். சரி நான் சொல்றேன். Okay. I think you have muted Dr. Reddy. You have muted Mr. Siva.
Yeah, 1 second. I have reconnected. We are going to live, but with a different link. People have to understand. Now we are going live with a different link. I'm copying.
You can
this
unmute
link.
Mr. Siva.
I did.
இப்போ கேக்குதா சார்?
Yes. அதாவது it is going on visible to me. I don't know why he says that it is not operative.
But he has that problem because Twitter and YouTube censor him.
I am viewing it through GoToMeeting. In that I am able to see everything, and the speech also is.
GoToMeeting, everything can be seen, but YouTube and Facebook, unfortunately, they have restricted the live. So again, I have rejoined. We have reconnected to the entire world. This is a mischief when we are trying to discuss something which is rule of law, Constitution, invoking evidential act, and we debunk all those minds who are behind this mischief. We have again back. Of course, yes, I'm very sorry to all the viewers. I will try to share the link as soon as possible to you through WhatsApp. Meanwhile, the show will go on. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Now I have already connected it again.
Okay. So now at this point in time, Kerala government decides to drop the charges against all the police officers. R.B. Sri Kumar files a defamation case against Nambi Narayan, which he withdraws unilaterally. And finally, in 2018, the Supreme Court is moved again, and they appoint a SIT, a Special Investigation Task Force, to go into the entire matter and give their report. And that report, based on that report in 2021, Supreme Court orders CBI to investigate all the officers concerned. So this is the position as on date. Now, all the concerned officers have taken anticipatory bail and they are filing their versions to the Supreme Court, CBI. Now, these are the main characters.
They have every right. They have every right,
Yeah,
police
they have
officials.
every right. So, these are the main characters. Mariam Rashida, Raman Srivastava, Fauzia Hasan, Shashi Kumar, Chandrasekhar, Alexei Vasan. Now, Alexei Vasan was the head of Glavcosmos. And because of this ISRO spy scandal and all these details here, this man was investigated by the FSB, Russian Secret Police, for no fault of his. Then S.K. Sharma, he was a labor contractor in ISRO. Today, he is a terminally ill patient. He has lost all his money, he has lost all his business, and he is on his deathbed. Chandrasekhar, the representative, the Glavcosmos representative, this man, unfortunately, he died on the date that the Supreme Court exonerated him. He was not able to listen to that verdict. Just before that verdict came, he died 1 or 2 hours before that verdict came. And his wife, who was working in another public sector undertaking, she is in penury now. Because all their savings, all their money has gone to fight this case. Nambi Narayan, of course, we know. So these are the people who are the main players on the accused side. And on the prosecution side, you have Vijayan, the inspector, who was promoted as SP, C.B. Matthews, who was promoted as DGP, Thambi Durgadat, who was also promoted, Joshua, Sri Kumar was promoted as DGP after fighting for it. Then there was a Jai Prakash, and there are another bunch of 10 officers involved in this. We need not go into all those details. But the point is, because of this shoddy investigation, the net result of this shoddy investigation was 2 scientists lost their reputation, lost their jobs, which they have built up assiduously over 30 years, 35 years. And they were forced to run from pillar to post for justice. 2 ladies who came from Maldives on a tourist visa, they were given a tour of Indian jails for 3 years. They also lost a lot of money. Now, what is the image of our country in those places now? ISRO project was delayed. GSLV rocket was delayed. The first GSLV, that is the first cryogenic engine, was tested only in 2010. It was delayed by almost a decade. And the first successful launch happened only in 2013. Now, if somebody tells that these families have lost a lot, we can only say collateral damage. Sorry, sir, collateral damage. So, according to Sun Tzu, my favorite author, The Art of War, all warfare is based on deception. And the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Lord Bryan has also given a good quote on this. If a man proves too clearly and convincingly to himself that the tiger is an optical illusion, well, he'll find out that he is wrong when the tiger itself starts intervening in that discussion, which is what has happened. Now, my feeling is all this that happened had a bigger picture behind it. One small incident of one person getting arrested for revenge was blown up to involve other people also, and finally it involved the country, it involved the project, it involved the country, it put the security of the country in danger. That is my conclusion on this.
Can you come again about your conclusion?
See, one small case of vendetta, one small case of petty harassment, where a person refused to pay for a service which was supposed to be given free of cost. It started there, and it was blown up into a huge scandal which endangered the country's security as well as the project in which all this was happening. And involved in this, reading of all the details in the media and other court judgments, affidavits filed by various people, what I can feel is that small incident of vendetta was used to settle departmental power games inside the Kerala Police Department. Because there was a problem between C.B. Matthews and Raman Srivastava, and probably C.B. Matthews and Vijayan used this to get back at Raman Srivastava. And this is where the political point also comes in, where one faction of the government uses this to displace the other faction.
Karnakaran faction by Anthony faction. Let us be clear. What is there? Karnakaran faction by Anthony faction.
Yeah. And
there again at the union level, P.V. Narasimha Rao was not listening to the party high command headed by Sonia Gandhi.
Sonia Gandhi. And this is where the point comes in. That I'll come this thing also. The contribution of the IB. Probably IB received information from CIA, wrong information, misleading information. Let me give credit to the IB, because information is shared between intelligence agencies. Probably CIA had a hand in this by giving some false information to intelligence agencies, IB. And IB used this information without verifying it. Probably it was used by Sri Kumaran to fix Nambi Narayan because they had a grudge against each other. When Nambi Narayan was a CIS officer in ISRO. And let me tell you, Nambi Narayan is not a very easy person to get along with. That is how it appears to me. So this incident was used probably by the IB to settle scores with Nambi Narayan. And once it got too big to handle by the IB, they simply handed it over to the CBI. And in this, like you said, one faction of the government, state government, was against the other faction, and they used this to displace the other thing. The same thing happened in the center also. Probably the high command was using this to get at the prime minister, to cut the prime minister to size. Because why I have this feeling is the cryogenic engine was supposed to be assembled by MTAR, a company in Hyderabad, in which Narasimha Rao's son was associated with that. So there was an attempt, there was a visible attempt to involve him also in that. But luckily, the then director of IB refused to take it up without verification, and at one point he said that it should not go any further than this. And at that point in time, IB handed it over to the CBI. There are good people in the country also, that we must give credit to them.
Of course.
So this is the background of it. Now, CIA, General Dynamics wanted to sabotage this because why was America interested in sabotaging the cryogenic engine? Because they were afraid that they will lose economically. Today, India was able to send a rocket to Mars at probably a fraction of the cost that the Americans sent to Mars. Economically, we were much cost effective than the Americans. And if we had the cryogenic engine, then we would cut into their business as far as satellite launching goes. And this they wanted to prevent at any cost. It was an economic warfare conducted by one company in collusion with the American CIA and the American government. The present President of United States, Joe Biden, when he was a senator in the American Senate, he has made a statement on this, that we must stop India from getting the cryogenic engines. He has made a speech on that.
My God.
So then
This is
it doesn't take much time to connect the dots. And in this process, the Americans were able to create a doubt in the minds of Russians about the ability of India to protect the secrets of the Russians. A distrust was created between Russian agencies and Indian agencies.
my goodness.
This was to my mind, this was the actual target. And in the process, the project was targeted. Because the project was targeted, the two main scientists who were involved in the project were targeted. The rest were all collateral damage. I'm sorry. I can't make omelets without breaking eggs.
Yes, you need to.
So some people have to pay the price for it. These people paid the price for it.
Unfortunately.
So what did this entire thing expose? What did this entire drama expose? First, it showed that there was a lack of professionalism in police investigation. Second, it showed a lack of professionalism in intelligence gathering. That is unfortunate because IB had a reputation which is not known to many people. Our intelligence agencies has got a good reputation for very good work because nobody talks about what has not occurred. Everybody talks about intelligence failure when something has occurred, but nobody talks when something is not occurring because of intelligence gathering. So intelligence IB has got a reputation. Unfortunately, that reputation was tarnished here. Then, now, if what I had said is true, or if what I said is even partially true, it exposes the professional officers for the vulnerability that they can abuse the powers that have been given to them. Now here I have to put a point here, Dr. Reddy. You remember when we were talking about that CRPC amendment, when a head constable was given powers to take the DNA samples and biometric samples, law was passed by
Constables,
Parliament. At
constables,
that
even
point in
constables.
time, Amit Shah, the Home Minister, said that it will not be misused. Now, this is one case where a misuse has happened. What was the Home Ministry doing? They couldn't stop it. Now, tomorrow, if this new act is going to be misused, who is going to be held responsible for it? Who is willing to take responsibility for it? So, our security officers are vulnerable for abuse of powers. But more important, information security was lax in ISRO. Otherwise, they should have said it immediately. They didn't say it. And one thing is, employees become vulnerable, scientists become vulnerable. And this was the biggest damage that was caused because of this. When Nambi Narayan and Sashi Kumar were arrested, ISRO knew that they were innocent. But none of the top officials in ISRO came out in support for them.
Now who are
The
trying to debunk coming now those are the officers who are trying to come and debunk Nambi Narayan now.
The excuse given was the matter is under investigation, therefore it is not our policy to talk about it. Okay, sir. If investigation is an excuse for you to not to talk about it, then once Nambi Narayan was exonerated, why wasn't he given his original position back? Why was he shunted to a desk job in Trivandrum or an inconsequential job? Both of them. Why were they not reinstated in their positions? Number one.
1 minute, sir. You have
Yes.
mentioned in one of the slides that he took VRS.
Yes.
Then why he should be reinstated? Why he
Correct.
was
Correct. A very valid point. A very valid point. He had given VRS and ISRO also accepted it. Once ISRO had accepted it, once he was exonerated, ISRO went back on that and said that he has to come back and join. So VRS was not accepted. If VRS was not accepted, then why didn't they reinstate him? Why was he shunted out? That is the word. Why was he shunted out? Okay, that is internal politics. But my point is, when these top officials in ISRO did not stand up to Nambi Narayan and Satish Kumar, it destroyed the morale of the scientists working in ISRO. Who is going to work in an organization when the top officials don't support them? When push comes to shove. And yesterday, when all these gentlemen came on this thing to say that Nambi Narayan is taking all the credit, now my question is, only when your credit is affected, you come to public and you are trying to talk about the why. Even today, the matter is under investigation. So, what prevented you from talking about it then? Why should you talk about it now? It doesn't.
They
It
should be
reflects.
investigated.
It
They should be
reflects very
investigated.
poorly upon them.
No, they should be
It
investigated.
reflects.
What do you say, Mr. Shiva? They should all be investigated who have come on to the press
See,
and they have tried to debunk Nambinar. They should always be investigated. Why they
as
kept calm? Mum, why did they
they
keep
should have
mum?
opened their mouth. They should have opened their mouth
Yeah.
to defend these people when they were
yes.
arrested. Not only Nambi Narayan, the other man also.
Anyone, all of them, all of them.
And
I'm just not
charges
saying
made
Nambinar.
against them,
All
not
those
only
innocent.
but also affair with a lady and all.
Yes.
So honey trap and all. So that they should have defended. And as he said, when the materials are all available open, there is no case of espionage. They should have come out with that.
Huh, yes.
Investigation is Investigation is right. If they find out something incriminating against these people, they would take action. In that, they need not interfere. But the revealing espionage case and the honor of these people, that they should have defended, which they
They should
failed
have.
at.
That's what
That they
I'm
failed.
questioning the integrity. I'm questioning the integrity of these scientists who are coming out now trying to debunk Nambi Narayana. Now I'm asking them, what happened to your integrity then? Now, don't you think people should have suspiciousness about your integrity then and now? Because you are still associated with ISRO, because this case is still under investigation. Is it for that reason again they are being touted against this again? Are they going to shelve the entire ISRO? That's what my worry is all about.
Dr. Reddy, you see, why
No
it
agreement,
reflects.
sir. They are all retired. They
Yes.
are all of
No,
them
no.
retired.
My point is very simple. It is limited to only one point. Where your credit is affected, you are willing to come out openly and talk about it. But where somebody else's reputation is concerned, where your colleague's representative, it is not a one-day colleague or a two-day colleague. They have been associated with these people for 25 years, 30 years.
Their own organization, ISRO's reputation.
Yes, that they didn't do it. Then what is the value of the statement that they have made yesterday? I don't give it any value at all. Now let it
Then
apart.
not only
My
value, because
most
you are an
important point is
investigator,
this
not just value. You
90.
are an investigator. You are an investigator. You need to read in between the lines. Why they have come now? Okay, I leave it to you. Right, go ahead, sir.
Now the major point is this incident happened in 1994. Today, 2022, 28 years have passed by, and the judiciary is still conducting cases. Shouldn't they done on a fast track mode? And once Nambi Narayan was exonerated or left off, then the subsequent actions should have followed immediately. You can't wait 30 years for the case to be concluded. We don't know how much more time it will take. It is only now the CBI is taking the statements from these accused. So what does it talk about our judiciary? When the CJI comes up, see, every Chief Justice talks a lot during addresses saying that this is delayed, that is delayed, justice delayed, justice denied. But in action, nothing happens. Why? So this has been exposed now. The entire world has been watching this. Foreigners are involved. Now those two ladies have put a case. Now, at the end of the day, who is going to pay for all this? And what have we lost? What have we lost? As a country, what have we lost? Two tourists, they have lost their peace of mind, they have lost their money. One girl who was studying in Bangalore, she has lost her studies, collateral damage. ISRO's cryogenic project was delayed by a decade. ISRO scientist morale was destroyed. Kerala police and the IB was left with a lot of egg on their faces. Russian entities, they have started distrusting Indian entities. One state CM lost his chair. And for the last 28 years, it is you and I who have been paying for all this tamasha by way of taxes. This is our loss. So as a citizen, don't you think that we should question it? And have we learned the lessons, or are we repeating it over and over again? That I leave it for the viewers to decide.
Yeah, I have got some sublime questions for you, and I think I'll just will come out of this, and then hopefully even uh, Mr. Shiva I think he should switch on his video so that we can all have a discussion straight away. Yeah, now do you think this case will go ahead? Straight question to you, because now the same Biden who was opposing that cryogenic, somehow it should be stopped. Then he was a senator. Now he becomes the president of America.
Correct. Correct.
So can we expect even Supreme Court to move ahead or CBI to move ahead now?
It has to move ahead. It has to move ahead because it is not a question of American credibility. Now it is a question of Indian credibility. It is a question of credibility of Indian agencies. And it is for
But
that reason the Supreme Court has to step in.
but Supreme Court, with due diligence, we have seen COVID-19 now. We have seen this 1912 repealing, amendment of that act, and you have seen new money laundering policy, new three bench. When they have a constitutional bench about to hear, this three bench Supreme Court comes and does something different. Accused has to prove his innocence. When such things, and then when such a big country, now the same Biden becoming president of America, don't you think the pulls and pressures are very much evident? Now today I came to know India has for the first time voted against Russia in Ukraine case in the
Yeah,
United States.
yeah. But international politics being what it is, I am happy that at least in some places, some point of time, some these things, India is able to stand against other countries' pressures to a certain extent. Yes, we can do it. But because we are not economically very strong, there has to be some give and take somewhere, someplace. That is international diplomacy. We are not competent to comment on that. But one thing I can be sure. One thing I can be sure is there are no free lunches. There are no free lunches.
That's okay. That's point is taken. But
No, if America, every nation has to go out to safeguard its own interest. America does it well. We need to do it well. That is all.
no, because why I'm telling you at this point of time, this show has opened up the Indian Parliament's strength now, because it's people who have voted them. Till this time, India was neutral, which we everyone appreciated in when it came to Russia and Ukraine. Now all of a sudden it jumps on the bandwagon of America now, when it should have been neutral, for the simple that BRICS and everything was happening, and we discussed alternate currency mode with gold as a standard medium, and subsequently when the dollar is on the decline, where was the need for India to jump? That's what I'm asking you.
No, no,
Is
no.
it
See,
the
this is a no, no. India has voted against Russia. It is not. It is on a procedural matter as far as Ukraine is concerned. It is not per se that they are going against Russia or going for America. See, this is a mistake that we all make. If I talk against somebody, it does not mean that I'm against him. It only means that yes, I can see. For example, our external affairs minister has also come out and very clearly on that this thing. We are interested only in our security, national interest. We will work only on that basis. If it suits me, tomorrow morning I can say America Zindabad. Tomorrow evening I can say Russia Zindabad. It depends upon my national security requirements. That's all.
that we appreciate, that we have been
Yeah,
appreciating
that
when
is
they
it.
stayed neutral.
And what
No, but here
and
here in this particular
what has
case,
happened is only a procedural matter. It is of
Ravichandranji,
no
Ravichandranji,
consequence.
Ravichandranji, Ravichandranji, because you have come out with such beautiful presentation, unraveling the truth, mystery. After Rocketry Cinema, people were saying who is the villain. Now here not we are not here to judge anyone. We are discussing the issue as it became evident as the opening started to come out. In one such opening, when Biden was vehemently opposing India becoming a cryogenic power then when he was a senator. Now he is the president, commanding resources at his disposal, Indian diaspora and the Gujarat lobby, which is again more interested for their business, who are supporting. Again, here I quote why: because all the political funding, electoral bonds have become opaque. No citizen knows which corporate company is funding which party and how much. In this scenario, America being a developed state having all those strategic business interests, do you think once they're opening, I mean, Americans' involvement or everything, we are not here to judge, but when things are becoming evident, do you think they will allow either CBI or Supreme Court to march ahead in this espionage ISRO spy case?
No, my point is, it is immaterial whether Biden is in power, because when this incident took place, first it was H.W. Bush, a Republican Party member. Then it was Clinton. Then subsequently, several presidents have come. Now Biden has come into power. That's all. Now, irrespective of who is the president in America, the president of America works for American interest, American industry. Now, America will try to influence events in India. Right now, they are doing it. They are doing it. A lot of money is flowing in India to influence public opinion, to influence policymakers, to influence the media. But my limited point is, as patriotic Indians, we must be alert to such influences and we should prevent them from happening. And that can be done only when people start questioning. As long as when people keep quiet, then we will be having bigger problems. People kept quiet in 94, it has extended up to 2022. At least now we should start talking. That is my limited point. I don't care who governs India, I don't care who governs America. I am interested only in India and my security. Tomorrow, if China is prepared to help me, I will receive them with both arms, but I will make sure that they have not put any malware into my system. That's all. I have to endure that.
That's a point. And then you mean to say Gar Gar Tiranga should have Indians understanding that the procedure, the Supreme Court delays trials and CBI delaying trials should be on a fast track court, but with due
Yes.
respects to with all evidences. Again, no innocent should be punished. No innocent. The second aspect is the same CPM government, which was then came back to power and reopened the case. Now again, it is there in the saddle in Kerala.
Yeah, and CPM government has handed over 1.3 crores to Nambi Narayan, which the earlier Congress government did not do. They kept quiet.
Congress was never there. For the second time in a row, CPM came back to power.
No, it was there in power earlier also. When at the center, at the state level, the money had to be given, it was given. That's all. And now probably the Kerala government decided that they want to close this issue, so they settled it only in 2021, because they know that if they prolong it, then the issue is going to become much bigger. Like I said, at some point the Kerala government itself decided this is not worth going. See, one of the reasons why it wanted to drop cases against the police people was it didn't want to expose the weaknesses that were evident. They wanted to start with a clean slate, but that did not happen, unfortunately. And in one case it is good, because now only when people start realizing how an abuse of power by a officer, how it affects the people, only then it is why till Rocketry film came out from 1994, nobody was talking about Nambi Narayan.
We are talking about Nambi Narayan because of not his any personal interest, but he was a scientist, and the organization involved was Indian Space
ISRO.
Research Organization with so many scientists, and the question of country's prestige because of this
Prestige
mental
and
acumen,
security. And security.
security, and security. That's what when I say countries include, it involves the security aspects, because now everything is connected with. You have seen everything is online, everything is spatial now. Now in these circumstances, do you think Kerala government will cooperate with the CBI probe in
Doubtful.
regards to its own police officials' roles?
Doubtful. Because police has got a powerful union in Kerala. They will ensure that the police is not like ISRO. They won't abandon their people.
Okay. I hope Mr. Srikumar, everyone is listening. Police organization is not like ISRO, who these scientists now they come out, try to say that their the credit has not been given to them. But what they were doing, what they were sleeping, they should be investigated. They should be part of, because maybe why they kept quiet when you are allowing a crime to happen, when your eyes and ears, your own physical entity is part and parcel of everything. How is that they will go scot free under the investigation? We'll leave it to that. And then the other aspect, the police, Kerala may try to protect, but police officers, then what will CBI do then? Then how do you
See,
feel?
there is
How
nothing
do
to
you think?
no no
How do you think
no
justice can be done?
no there is nothing to do. See, like I said, the only way that this issue can be resolved is let the Supreme Court see there is what is see now most of these people have been promoted to the apex of their careers, and most of them are in probably in 70s. Now, according to the Supreme Court, anybody above 70 years cannot be jailed. Several there have been several cases like that, and these people are sinners with a future. So they will be probably pardoned. So what is the point in continuing with a case where more
No,
and
no,
more
not,
of
not
our
that.
weaknesses
No,
are
no,
being
no,
exposed?
my interest is no other police officer, young or because they watch movies, should indulge in such type of crime
Yes,
again.
you
Should be
have to. No, for that purpose, there is no point in punishing these people. Okay, you make rules, you ensure that such abuses do not take place in future. But to do that, the court has to correct itself first. Because, like, let me tell you, even when the police arrested Mariam Rashida and Fauzia Hussain, it was the court which remanded them to custody.
That's what
It
courts are
was not the
just making
police
fun of
officer. The
themselves.
police officer does not have the power to remand anybody to custody. It was the court which did it. How did the court do it without any evidence? Now, why isn't when 18 police officers are being accused, why has the magistrate been left free?
No, no, you should be part of it. Not just 18
Huh?
officers. Magistrate should be part of it.
He,
He should
he,
be.
he has shown his incompetence
Yes.
or ignorance of law, if
Incompetence,
not
even that
collusion.
magistrate who has remanded Fauzia and Mariam, you should be part of this investigation for a fair and transparent investigation, because we now Nambi Nayar comes out along with all the others as heroes and heroines. Now there should be villains as he really wanted, because who have done, at least the country should know. Maybe they have gone through age of 70 and all, but the country should know who they are. This is one aspect when it comes to police. Then what about the political game? A political game, one faction, Anthony faction, comes to power, dislodging Karunakaran's faction, and Congress High Command in Delhi, what they have to say? Because they have played with the country's,
That
what should I say?
Dr. Reddy, that is our culture. That is our culture. In the 10th century, 11th century, when Muhammad of Ghori came into India, it was Raja Jai Singh who helped him to come into India against Prithviraj Chauhan. In the Battle of Plassey, it was Mir Jafar who was helping the Britishers to capture the Nawab of Oudh. That runs in our blood. The politicians are part of it. There should be a cultural awakening of that. At least it will not happen in our lifetime.
because we do not know this government also sent at the center. They should expedite if they want to come out clean and create a good culture, or else
The, the,
by the power of superpower, if they want to go for some bargain, prolong this case, agonizing all those accused now, because till that time it was Nambi and that scientist and all the others who were suffering. Now in the, because now the accused list is out, and the party Kerala party and the factions, their names are out. If the probe gets delayed, unfortunately, even again these families will have to be will have to face the ire of the people. Unfortunate things, because justice, if that is not done expeditiously, but again in a proper way, in a proper way, no question of trying to simply accuse someone, till proved, till proved no one is guilty. This is what we feel. Even those accused officers, even those factions in the Congress, or for that matter anyone else involved with this Nambi Narayan's case, we still say, until and unless proved guilty, you are still just accused. So we have nothing against you or your families or anything. Here a crime has happened which should not have happened. A crime has happened with the scientific community. A crime has happened with scientific community who were about to profess our future into space, having collateral advantages, not just for India, but in doing so for the entire world. So this aspect has to be borne in ward. For petty quarrels, for petty politicalisms, you have allowed, why I should not, foreign agencies or others to take advantage and show ISRO, their scientists, and Indian investigating agencies like IB, and also the Indian judiciary at fault in front of the world. At least this
correct.
should be corrected now.
This
This
should be
should be
correct.
corrected. We want this
This
should
should
be
be correct.
corrected, because
That's
Nambinaran, when he says after Supreme Court grants him compensation, Kerala government coming forward, the same CPM government which has reopened his case, they come forward, pay him compensation. When he's exonerated, then who is the villain? And those villains, those accused, should also have a fair trial. No one has a right to just name them or just accuse them. No, it should be again rule of law with all those evidences that should be proved. But this onus rests on Supreme Court, the CBI, as well as the ruling polity at the center and at Kerala. At the same time, ISRO at least should start thinking about their integrity now. People hold ISRO in a high esteem after so many successful, what should I say, launches helping the Indian society. We are proud of you, ISRO, but not this way. You should become strong. You should learn to protect your own staff, your own people, not out of some wrongdoings. No. If you try to protect any wrongdoing, this ISRO spice scandal case, Nambinaran case will be an example. If not today, decades after, the truth has to come out. The truth has to come out. Truth has to prevail for dharma, for an order in the society. Otherwise, the existence will be no more. So before winding up, thank you, gentlemen. This is what we wanted to say, in spite of YouTube trying to cut down our show because they were worried that Joe Biden's name would be taken. We are not here to judge Mr. Joe Biden, then senator, now president. He was right in his own way. He is trying to protect his country's interests. But what happened to our politicians, our investigating officials, our administrators, our judiciary, and our own ISRO scientists themselves? And more than that, the rightful thinking Indian intelligentsia. What happened to you? What happened to us? Why, before we blame others, what happened to us? This Nambi Narayan spy scandal should be an eye opener for all concerned citizens, because we are the constitutional authority, right from to Prime Minister to Chief Minister. All other administrators, they are public servants. But why we could not show that interest when someone is being framed without evidences, so many years in jails, and innocent Maldive women, when they came here on tourist visa, we are not going to certify them. You are innocent, but you are accused. But someone comes here, if they are framed, now they are exonerated. What will be the prestige of the country? Such a great Commonwealth country. We had Panchashil Siddhantas, principles. What happened to that? I will leave it to the Gandhi's family. At least now they should come out clean. They should start cleaning their own party now of such people who want only power to grab, come whatever may, by having these type of feuds internally that has disturbed the entire nation's security in the form of ISRO, which has belittled our own scientific minds doing such great service, launch after launch, successful launches, and they are all coming to the rescue of common man in various ways, right from farmers to education, every aspect they are proving it right, including weather and everything. When such is the case, the integrity of ISRO should be protected from where? By their own people, the scientist community there. And I hope I've been very clear. Let us all celebrate this Tiranga 75 years of independence with wisdom. We should all be wisdom personified. Once when you start discussing issues like this, then that fear of wrongdoings will never happen. Those who try to frame you or try to do such things, they have to run for cover. And the punishment or whatever it is, in this case, we will leave it to Supreme Court and CBI. Hopefully, they will expedite these cases much faster so that people will not lose faith in judiciary and the premium investigation agency called Central Bureau of Investigation. At the same time, even the political parties in Kerala, they have to play a stellar role. They should become statesmen. Whatever happened, but ultimately they should allow truth to prevail rather than trying to again shield someone for next series. Let us not allow to do such type of things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Shivaji, anything? Hope you have enjoyed watching this show. Take care, sir. Bye and good night. And if
Thank
possible, we will try to repeat this show tomorrow on Citizens DRTSPR channel. For the discontinuity, I see some messages. I may try to upload this tomorrow again, because let India know what has happened and how beautifully Ravichandran Swaminathan once again pooling all the evidences as per rule of law, constitution, he has presented today. It is for every citizen of the world to understand. When you say global village, let us not have an espionage drama going against one another. That is not global drama. If I am good in one thing, if he is good in one thing, if you are good in something, let us have that bonhomie of bilateralism so that you grow, we grow, entire world grow. When such is the case, you'll mutual respect, mutual trust is the main essence of this beautiful living. Otherwise, countries, states, and within states, political parties, and again within ISRO, their own groups will start fighting with each other. That will lead to absolute chaos, and that should not happen. Wonderful people, wonderful citizens, wonderful state and country. I still feel Mera Bharat Maha. Thank you, sir. Good night.
Bye. Bye.